Hey, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. So how are you feeling? I don't know what time you're watching this. Some of you watch it in the morning. Some of you watch it during the day. Some of you watch it during the night. I get emails from you telling me what time you watch it. Or you put it in the comments. Or we can see from the comments the time signature. And I'm saying this because depending upon where you are and what you're doing, depends on how you feel. You might be energetic. You might be running off that second or third cup of coffee and on a caffeine buzz. Maybe you've just had a great carbohydrate-loaded meal, and the fatigue that comes after that hadn't hit in yet. Right now, you're on that buzz, that carbohydrate buzz. Me, I've been traveling this week. And so yesterday, I had to basically be awake almost 24 solid hours. I got up in about an hour and a half away from the airport in England. Had to get packed, get dressed, get to the airport, had to get there 2 hours early because it's an international flight and nobody knew how traffic would be. So left like with an extra 30 plus minutes to spare, which means you're sitting there in the airport waiting to get on the stupid airplane. Then you fly and it's like 11 hours on the plane to get back to Houston. Then you got to navigate customs and all the rest. And you finally get back. And then because it's much later in the day in Houston, I got to deal with all the work stuff that happened. And that's fine. I mean, it's a wonderful life. I'm so glad I didn't have to return by a boat, you know? But I then had to get up early this morning because I got to be in New Orleans by like 8:15. And so I got to leave for the airport pretty early, get to New Orleans, where I'll be till late tonight. And I got to tell you, I'm kind of weary. So my video thought for the day is on being weary. Now, weary is a fun word because it's a word that can describe our physical condition, but it can also describe our emotional condition. It can also describe our willpower. It can describe so many different things. So like the Bible says, don't be weary in well-doing. In other words, don't ever let your energy flag at doing good things for other people and doing right things. Keep that energy level right. But the passage, the weary passage that jumps out at me right now is from Psalm 63. And I've talked about it before in a video thought for the day, I think a few years ago, but it's a psalm that really made an impression on me as a young kid, and it got it in my brain. And so it stayed with me for probably at this point 50 years almost. The psalmist starts out, my soul thirsts for thee. My flesh yearns for thee, talking to God, like a dry and weary land where there is no water. And the idea of weariness as a metaphor, weariness in the land is where there's no water and it's dry and parched. Weariness in the soul is the same thing. It's like a dry and parched condition. And what the psalmist says is, but I beheld you, God, in your sanctuary. And I've seen your power and your strength and your glory, and it transforms me. And I love that idea. When you're weary, when you feel like you just can't do much else, find God. Think about him, pray to him, sing to him in his sanctuary. And God may tell you, go take a rest. I mean, he gave us the Sabbath for a reason. We do need a day of rest each week. Our bodies need to recharge. That's a godly thing. But it also, if our soul is ever weary, and we're weary in emotional and spiritual ways, we need the energy that comes from being connected to God. And so that's what I'm going to be thinking about this weekend. Where do I connect with God so that I've got his energy in me to do the good things for him that he'd have me do. Think about it. It's your video thought for the day.